Did you know that in 1863, a group of enslaved Africans chose death over slavery in Georgia, United States of America? And their act of resistance still echoes across history and myths. Some say they flew back to Africa. Others say they drowned in defiance. What really happened? What myths got added later? And why does it still matter? This is the truth about the legendary Igbo Landing. In May 1803, about 75 southeastern Nigerians were captured and taken to the United States of America. Immediately they arrived in Savannah, Georgia. They were purchased to work on plantations. But while being transported in smaller vessels along Dumbow Creek to St. Simon's Island, where they would work, the captives staged an uprising. Many accounts said that they overpowered the crew that was carrying them. They stopped the boat and then walked into the river, singing in Igbo language as they drowned. This act was described by historians as mass suicide resistance. Contemporary stories confirmed the deaths of these people, though the numbers vary. Some say all perished, while others said that some survived and were recaptured. So, why the myths or the saying that they flew back to Africa if they really drowned? This is part of African American folklore known as the Flying African story. It symbolizes freedom and spiritual return, not a literal flight. So, they didn't really fly back to Africa. In truth, Igbo Landing was preserved by the Gulagishi oral traditions for generations until historians documented it. For those asking, the Gulagiti people are the descendants of enslaved Africans in the coastal southeast. Among African Americans, the story is a spiritual metaphor that means refusing oppression and finding liberation in the afterlife. Today, Igbo Landing is a sacred historical site on St. Simon's Island, Savannah, United States of America. Igbo Landing has so far featured in literature, music, and even popular culture. For example, it was referenced in Beyonce's Love Drought video and also in Toni Morrison's novel, Song of Solomon. Igbo Landing is not just a story of tragedy. It is a story of courage, dignity, and resistance. For the Igbo, death with dignity is better than life in chains. Echoing Igbo proverbs like this one on your screen, which means, "He who lives dishonorably destroys himself." It reminds us that enslaved Africans were never passive victims. They fought, resisted, and in this case, chose freedom on their own terms. So, the next time you hear someone say that Igbo captives flew back to Africa, remember the truth. They walked into water, but their act took flight in history and in legends, inspiring generations that came after. To know more about African cultures, to know more about African history, and to know more about African traditions, no matter where you are on earth, subscribe to Lucam Studios channel